If you're a female entrepreneur and you're looking for community, encouragement, and empowerment in your journey as a small business owner, this is the podcast for you. Tune in with me as we interview women from all over the world on different walks in their business journey. We'll hear about their highs and their lows, their struggles and successes. They'll share tips and tricks and tutorials on how to grow your business. So pull up a chair and turn the volume up as we share the nitty-gritty of female entrepreneurship with no filters, no scripts, no judgment on the No Mercy Business Podcast. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me once again on the No Mercy Business Podcast. This is your host, Emily A. Woodruff, and I have a special guest with us today. Ashley Carlotta is here. Why don't you tell us about your business, Ashley?
Hi, Emily. Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah.
So, I am an accountability health coach and I guide mostly women, men too, but I guide people to lose weight in a sustainable way without dieting and without feeling FOMO on their weight loss journey, for lack of a better word. Fear of missing out is what that
Yeah.
means. Because I know a lot of times people start on these restrictive diets and they don't stick to them. So with my coaching, what I'm doing is I'm having my clients send me pictures of what they're eating, and I'm giving them suggestions and guidance along the way, helping them make sure that they're getting enough calories, not eating too many calories, and watching their macros and things like that. I
Mhm.
also plan their workouts for them if that's something that they want to have done, and I hold them accountable to get those workouts in without making excuses.
Mhm.
I am sending reminders throughout the day. I am making sure that they're eating on some sort of a schedule, sending nudges to drink their water. And sometimes it also turns into like helping them make sure that they go to bed on time with a nudge in that area, or maybe they want to be good about having a daily devotional or a meditation in the morning. Really, I'm just the support system to make them make healthier choices, because ultimately that's what they want. And so yeah, that's my business in a nutshell.
I love that. So when I first kind of read your bio, I thought it was all health focused, which is really cool, but it's really neat to hear about the like you just said, like a devotional or just daily reminders. I have a friend right now that I'm I'm doing some things with some medical things in my personal life, and there's a certain thing that I'm not doing every day and I need to, and she's like, "I'll help you. I can do this for you." She hasn't done it once. I'm like,
I'm
I knew I shouldn't have. Whatever.
I
It's
know. I'm telling you, do you know how many friends or how many times me and my friends like throughout the years have said, "Okay, let's make sure that we don't have any sugar this week or something." And then by the time Thursday roll around, they're like, "Okay, I really want to go to happy hour. Like, do you want to go too?"
right.
And it's like, "All right, let's throw in the towel." So it really does help to invest in somebody who's like really going to keep you on track versus just
Yeah.
somebody who like wants to make you feel good too. Because I can tell you that, like, if I tell my husband to be like, "Okay, don't let me have any ice cream for this week." And the moment he looks at me funny, like on Wednesday when I'm getting
Yeah.
ice cream, I'm going to be like, don't judge me. I'm your wife. You love me however I am.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. I get it. So how did you start to get involved with this? What is your backstory with it?
Sure. So it kind of fell into place in a very natural, random way. I have had body insecurities from like the age of 6 years old, where I like looked
Wow.
around me and I realized that like little girls were like a lot smaller and skinnier than me. And I had to put on a leotard and tights for this Nutcracker show, and I was crying and I was telling my mom I didn't want to go out there because I felt like I looked fat. And from 6 years old, that truly breaks my heart.
Mhm.
I yo-yo dieted through my teens and my adult years, like in my 20s for sure. I was never satisfied with the way that I looked, and I did know how to lose weight, but again, like I said in the beginning, I did it in a very restrictive way, so that
Sure.
by the time I got back to my goal of where I wanted to be, like at my wedding, for example, well, then it came right back.
Yeah.
And so after I had my second child. Meanwhile, let me back up for a second. So I was an accounting and tax professional for years.
Oh,
And all the personality tests and things that I would take, because I love taking those tests and stuff, it
oh
said like,
yeah.
you should be a life coach and, you should work with people. I'm extroverted. But I was always sitting behind a desk doing taxes, but it was
Yeah.
like security for me. And at the time I lived in California in the Bay Area, and there was no risk factor to where I could be like, I'm just going to quit my job and become a life coach. Right.
Sure.
Plus I didn't even know what that looked like. So anyway, after I had my second child, I had gained 50 pounds with each pregnancy and I didn't lose it enough from the first. I was determined to figure this crap out. I
Hmm.
was so tired of just not liking the way that I looked in the mirror. I was tired of going on another diet. And so what worked for me is I did have a friend that that actually held up to her part in this is I would send her like my food diary log at the end of the day. We would do it together. And we
Hmm.
did that for a long time because that was just a part of her daily life anyway. She was already at her goal and had maintained her goal for years. And so I just kind of started watching what she was doing. I started asking people a lot of questions. I think the problem was that I was never fully vulnerable about it. But once
Yeah.
I started to say, I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, what do you eat for lunch? You know what I mean?
Right.
What snacks are you having in the afternoon? Because clearly I'm not choosing the right ones. Or I learned that you're not supposed to restrict before you go out to dinner. Like, that's the worst thing you can do. But a lot of us try to like save up our calories because we're going out for a meal.
Hmm.
So slowly but surely, I lost the weight from those two pregnancies. And I felt amazing this time, specifically because I was incorporating strength training. I was exercising regularly, and I had done it slow enough to where I felt like I think I can actually manage it this time.
Hmm.
And I did for 2 solid years. I maintained within like a 3 to 4 pound range, which I had never
Wow.
done in my life.
Yeah.
And then we had another baby, which was a choice. I wanted to, but I found myself back at square one, like, okay. And I didn't gain as much weight, but it was like, you got to get back into the motions and you got to get back to like reining it in. And
Sure.
so what I did is I had moved to Texas in the meantime, like as I had my third child, and I wasn't doing the accounting anymore. I had taken a break and I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do next. So I posted my journey of my weight loss on Instagram like every normal person.
Right. Right.
No, but I was like, you know what? If I want the ultimate accountability to actually do this and not wait for Monday to like just come around again, then I'm gonna do this. So I
Yeah.
was logging it and people just started asking along my journey, what are you doing? What program are you doing? What are you eating? What workouts are you doing? And I was like, I'm not doing any program. Like I truly am just doing this the way that I know how. I know what to do. I just wasn't doing it. And so having you all watch me is holding me accountable. And people were like, can you help me? Like, can you give me tips and stuff like that? And so
Yeah.
I slowly but surely I started just like coaching people, like friends on the side. And I was like, oh my gosh, this might be able to become a business. So I started
Yeah.
charging people a little bit. And as I saw that it was working, and I even started to have like repeat clients, like they'd be with me for 12 weeks and then, they'd go through a season of something, there's things that happen in your life. You have a
Yeah.
family member who dies, or you're going through a really hard parenting time, or whatever it is. I saw them start to come back like, no, really what works is having the support and the accountability to do it because I know what to do. So that's where this came into place, better health by accountability. And I truly believe it's the missing piece for most people. I mean, there's nutrition guidance in there, obviously, and workout
Sure.
guidance, but for the most part, it's just having that angel on your shoulder that's there for you and not letting you quit because it's so easy to quit after like 3 days. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So that's my long story of how it came to fruition.
No, it's great. It's important. It's good to hear the whole thing, and it makes you more relatable and makes you feel like somebody that might resonate with us a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not getting my
Yeah.
words out well tonight.
It's kind of later and I'm on the same page as you. It's like it's the end of the day, but I'm so
Yeah,
glad we could fit this in.
today has been a day. So you work a lot with women, moms, entrepreneurs. That's kind of your specialty.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
it's just I work with mostly people who have really busy schedules, whether it's through their work or with their kids or doing both. And it just feels so overwhelming to them if they've been out of this healthy lifestyle for so long that they need somebody to come in and be like, all right, what do I do? Tell me what to do.
Mhm.
Take the thinking out of it a little bit for me. Now, granted, I do make you think, but
Right.
for the most part, it's just like I try to make it easy for them so that they can do this. So they don't see, oh, I have to go do an hour workout at the gym every single day. Like that's just not going to work for a lot of people. So if you can get
Right.
15 minutes in that you weren't doing yesterday, that's better than nothing. If you can maybe get a vegetable on your plate today that you didn't eat any yesterday, that's better than nothing,
For
right? So,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. So why don't you talk about how you see nutrition and fitness and how they affect your productivity and your mental wellness and how that can look in your personal and business life.
Yeah. So, as women in general, men too, but as women, we can be very emotional. And I don't mean that in a
No.
cry, boo-hoo thing. Yeah. No, I know you're
Yeah.
being sarcastic. But a lot of times we are eating because we're trying to comfort ourselves in some area. Sometimes we're celebrating, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're
Mhm.
depressed, right? And I have found that with productivity in not only just your business, but just in running your life, we have to like plan our day and all of those things. Like, if you have a foggy mind because you're eating just like crap, and by crap, I mean that doesn't even necessarily mean eating like a bunch of fast food or anything, but if you're not fueling your body properly,
Yeah.
you are not going to be running like a well-oiled machine when it comes to your thought processes and getting things done. And you're also just not going to feel strong. I know a lot of us want to have, a firm or a muscular body composition. And if you're
Mhm.
not lifting any weights or you're not making time to go out and go for a walk and make time to breathe and take those breaks,
Yeah.
and you're just sitting, because I don't know about for you, Emily, but like when you have your own business, it's like you could always be doing something.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I have a to-do list a mile long and I could just keep adding to it, and I could choose not to get up and go to
Yeah.
my workout. I could choose not to get up and fill up my water or put together a lunch that really is probably only going to take me 5 minutes, but in my mind it just seems like, oh, I have so much to do.
Yeah.
You will feel better, you will sleep better, and you will have more energy in the day if you're taking care of yourself. And so that's why I just think it's so important. And me as an entrepreneur myself, I have to hold myself accountable to do those things and make sure that I'm asking myself when I'm craving chocolate or
Mhm.
when I'm craving something like chips or things like that. I have to pause. I always suggest pausing. Why? Is it because you haven't had a good meal in a couple of hours? Is it because
Right.
you're feeling an emotion like, and you're just really mad at your partner and you need to like call your friend or your mom or like take some
Right.
notes or get in the bath or whatever it is, right? Like, I can promise you that most of the time, if you are binge eating or you're gravitating to things such as like not just choosing one cookie, but six cookies, it's
Mhm.
because something else internally is going on. Maybe you're really stressed at work. I know that was a trigger for me in the tax accounting office too. Like during those busy seasons, at the time, I used to just stop everything. It like
Mhm.
stop my health journey essentially because it's like, well, work comes first and you get in the office at 7 p.m. and I mean 7 a.m. and literally like I'd have to make myself leave to come home because the work
Yeah.
just never stops. But I always hated it because I knew I needed more balance in my life, but it was just the profession that I was in. So I did have to start setting boundaries. I did have
Mhm.
to start putting on my calendar from 11 a.m. to 11:30. I'm walking. I'm going to go out and
Mhm.
walk because I know I'm going to be here forever and I need to get some air. I mean, and if you take breaks, you can come back feeling refreshed and get more work done. But if you're not, it's just you feel run down and yeah, you know how it is. It's
Yeah.
just a lot.
Yeah. I have a regular 9 to 5 job also. So I sit at a desk all day long. I said today was a day, and it's because meetings started at 8 o'clock and ran until the first one ended at almost 11. which is a really fun way to start your day.
Gosh,
Um,
yeah.
and then I had to listen to a recording from a meeting 2 days ago that was 2.5 hours long. I didn't get a lunch hour and we had a bid due. So we have all of these things that I literally am not supposed to get up from my desk. I, I wear like a smartwatch or whatever, and it'll buzz at me and tell me, "Hey, you haven't moved in a while." And I'm like, "But I'm in a meeting and I'm checking bids and I'm checking emails and I literally can't do anything different." And then when I get little 10-minute bursts, I almost am like running down the hallways trying to like, I just have to move, I just have to do
Yeah.
something. So it's really difficult for that. And because I live so far from my house or from my live so far from my work, I'm in the car for 2 extra hours every day. So I'm sitting and it's so difficult. And then you get home and it's like, well, I have all these things to do, but I know that I need to go for a walk or I know that I need to do this. And it's, I can just relate to this a lot, you know?
Yeah. And you are so not alone. Like,
Yeah.
that's really a lot of us are living in that same world. And I understand, like, and you got to go to work and you got to
Yeah.
get there and you got to sit in the car to get there. Right.
Yeah.
And it really is a lot. And that's why I believe in making things easy for you,
Yeah.
making sure that like, for example, what protein-filled lunch you're gonna have, and you're gonna make it easy, and you're probably gonna make that every single day, and that doesn't even need to be, like, meal prepped on Sunday
Yeah.
because that's not something I would ever do. I'm kind of more of a spontaneous person, but it's like, if you're not gonna be able to get up for your desk for hours and you might be stuck on a call or a meeting or whatever, you better believe you need to have like a drawer of like some nuts and some protein bars and
Yeah.
whatever. And you need to just be, I mean, we all need to eat. We all need to go to the bathroom. And it's
Yeah.
like, you have to start setting those boundaries there too. And I'm not saying that you have to block out like full 30 minutes
Yeah.
here and there. Um, Even if that means that you're going and you're scarfing down your salad real quick. I hate that because I want you to be mindful of it, but you also need to make sure that you have snacks in the car so that when you come home, you're not like ravishing through the pantry or
Yeah.
picking up takeout that is like not the best thing. But by then you're so burnt out and you're hungry and you're tired and you don't want to think. And so that's where I
Yeah.
come in to really help you to be like, okay, do you have some turkey meat in the fridge? Like, let's roll it up into a tortilla and put some fruit next to that and like call it a day for dinner. If that's what it is, if you don't have time to
Right.
cook. Um, and yeah, I know it's hard if you're coming home and you're like, cool, I haven't worked out yet. And but I can promise you that if you do, again, even for a short amount of time, like a
Hmm.
10-minute strength video or something, you're all of a sudden going to have more energy to complete anything else that you need to do that evening.
Yeah.
But it's just about actually doing it instead of
Yeah.
being like, well, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and some other things I can kind of speak to a little bit is that so I have PCOS. So I fight with a lot of other things on top of my regular health struggles, just
Yeah.
dietary struggles and things. But so I've been really trying to drink like a protein shake. I don't like fruit, and I don't know if I am ready to put that on the internet, but I don't eat it. I just have never liked it. But if I can have a protein shake, I can guarantee that I get fruit every single day. And I eventually, once I'm more consistent with it, I can start sneaking vegetables in there. And I've done this before and I've lost tons of weight really fast, really easily. And now, so here's a funny thing, we have kind of a small hobby farm and we just got goats last week.
Yay!
Yeah, so now they're my goats too. So I have to go out there every single day, which seems like it's not a big commitment. It's really not that far, but it forces me to get out of the house. And I don't usually come home and just sit down, but it forces me to walk further and to run around in the pen with the goats and let them climb on me and just the things that I do interacting with them. I already notice a difference in just little things like that.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like just the walk out there, I hit my steps goal during the week. And normally I come in like 800 steps short of it. Like, so I'm always close, but now I do it every single day. And if nothing else, it just makes me like Yeah, I can hit my goal
Yeah.
today,
Like, I did it. Like, I have a
Yeah,
purpose and I have to go do something, you know, they need you too.
yeah,
Um,
and they're
we
super cute.
we work with a lot of clients that have PCOS, and it's even more important. I know you don't want to hear this, and I know you've heard it already. It's
Yeah,
even more important to focus on your nutrition,
yeah,
making sure that you're having really balanced meals with enough
mhm,
protein, especially in the morning. So that's great if you can put all the fruit in that you can in there and get it in. And granted, I mean, really like 2 servings of it is fine anyways. I would rather you
yeah,
have more vegetables. um, Sometimes our clients find it helpful to be gluten-free when you have
mhm,
PCOS. Sometimes it works, sometimes others don't really see a difference.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it is what it is. Weight loss
yeah,
is slower. It just
yeah,
is. And which is reason why you need to be even more consistent and not have it be a race. It's gotta just be a
yeah,
lifestyle. And that doesn't mean that you don't have, you know, a glass of wine and your piece of cake and you don't have to be like so strict that you're like
yeah,
this stuff. But you have to be consistent with it and you have to eat throughout the day. You can't go
mhm,
from 9 to 5 and then be starving and have a huge meal after that. Like that's not how your body works and that's not
yeah.
going to speak to your metabolism.
Yeah, and that is something for me personally that I'm trying very hard to. I'm trying really hard right now to add steps to my day. And because it's beautiful fall weather, we have really great weather right now. So, and I'm ginger skinned, so I don't love being in the sun in the summertime. So I usually will walk on my lunches, and that is super helpful for me. And then I'm trying to do like the shakes thing, and then shortly here I'll add something else into it. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, that's just me and my little journey, but what
But I
are
think that's important. I think it's
yeah,
important to not change everything all at once because otherwise
yeah,
you won't stick to it. I think that it's good that you're choosing like, okay, I'm doing this first, then I'm going to add this in, and then when you're
mhm.
consistent with that, you can add another thing in.
Yeah, and I know too, I know that winter is coming, so some of those habits will just naturally change because it's gonna be, like, below 0 and the wind will hurt my face, and I don't wanna be outside walking for that, so once hopefully by that point, I will be so used to it that it will feel natural for me to wanna go downstairs and use our treadmill and,
Yes.
do it in other ways, but
Yeah.
so for people who are not me, what are some other tweaks or some additions that you would suggest somebody add to their daily or morning routine?
Sure. I think it's important to not grab your phone first thing in the morning. I know for me, that's something I used to do, and I would stress myself out because then my kids needed me, but then I needed to
Yeah.
respond to something. And all of a sudden, like my mind was all worried and anxious. So I think getting up for me personally, I like to read a Bible verse of some kind. And I mean, when I say meditate on that, like I'm literally talking like a minute. Like I'm not
Yeah.
asking anybody to do like 20 minutes, but it's just like think positively. You know, for me, I like to thank God for whatever it is that's going on in my life that's going well at that time. And then, you know, a lot of times the little prayer will be like, all right, Lord, help me through this day. You know, I'm not a morning person,
Yeah.
so it takes a lot for me to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Um, I think it is important to make sure that you're drinking enough water throughout the day. People just they neglect that a lot,
Mhm.
and the reason is one, it can help speed up your metabolism. It's not gonna make it going like a, you know, a crazy wheel or
Sure.
anything like that, but it helps, but it also makes you think about whether or not you're actually hungry or if you're just dehydrated. So, I always drink a big cup of water before my cup of coffee in the morning, and I also recommend not just having coffee without having some kind of food with it as well,
Mm,
because it can be like acidic for your stomach, and it's good to pair with that, and just make sure to eat breakfast. A lot of people do fasting. It's not wrong, it's just not what I teach my clients to do, because I know for me, like if I'm in a good routine, like if my stomach's not growling by 9 a.m., I know like something's off, right?
yeah.
And um, making sure that you're not drinking too much alcohol. I know that's like a party pooper thing to say,
Yeah.
but really, if you're drinking wine into the late hours of the night, you're
Yeah.
gonna just wake up feeling groggy and yucky, right? And
Yeah.
so watching that, but also in the morning, I really believe in just prepping somewhat for your day. Like I hate it sometimes when my clients are so rushed that it's like, okay, you made your kids lunches, you did all these things, you got them to school, yet you left and you didn't bring anything for yourself. Like, we have to treat ourselves like children too, and we have to take care of ourselves because we're needed in the world, whether or not you have kids or not. It's like, to be just like a good human, you need to eat, or else you're just going to be an irritable, angry person. At
That
least
is
I
so
will.
good. That's so good. That's so real. Because I'm sitting here like, yep, I pack my husband his lunch most days, not every day. Um, do things for him. I make sure our kid has something before we get out the door. I make sure everybody's got their bags, and then I'm like, oh crap, we're 5 minutes late, and okay, I guess I'll stop at the gas station and get something, and it's just
Yes.
never, you know. I mean, I get like
Yep.
goldfish, so it's not like anything horrible, but it's not great.
Well, I mean, goldfish aren't horrible, but they're definitely not fueling you. I can tell you, if I had
No.
some goldfish, I'm going to be hungry in about 20 minutes after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. So, do you have any, this is just kind of a sidebar, but you mentioned having something like with your coffee. Is there anything in particular that you would suggest?
Yeah. So for my clients who get up and they like to have a cup of coffee and not eat like a whole meal before going
Hmm.
to the gym, for my early workouters, I usually recommend like having like a half of banana and a piece of toast, or just a handful of almonds. You could do a half of a protein bar. I just like you to get something in your system.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not a, morning worker outer, then I really would suggest trying to wait to have coffee until you're ready to eat your breakfast. And I feel
Sure.
like it goes together. So, I mean, one of my favorite breakfasts is avocado toast, which is like so basic, right? But I do that with
Whatever.
like two
It's so
hard-boiled
good.
eggs on the side. It's so good. It's so
Yeah.
amazing. Some people don't like avocado, and we can't really be friends if you don't like
No,
avocado.
it's great.
I also like to do oatmeal with berries, and I put like some collagen or protein powder in it to just, what am I trying to
Beef it
say?
up a little bit.
But beef it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Greek yogurt or
Okay.
cottage cheese with berries are really good options. I mean, there's a lot. Like, I don't know if you've heard of the Kodiak brand, but they have that
Yeah.
for pancakes and waffles. Like, so you can eat what you want. You just have to make sure that it has protein in it. And I promise you that healthy food is good food. I think a lot of times we
Yeah.
just don't know what to do. And we think like, okay, I need to have spinach. And it's like, okay, yes, spinach is good. And yes, put it in a protein smoothie. That's another thing that you can have,
Yeah.
as you're drinking your coffee. But it doesn't have to be boring, and it doesn't have to be difficult. Like, I give my clients a lot of meal ideas and healthy recipes, and I can tell you that if it weren't easy, I wouldn't do it either. So I had to make it easy for myself. And you
Yeah.
do have to make it a priority though. Like, you do have to put some work in.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is really great. Where can our listeners find you online or connect with you?
Yeah. Well, my website is Better Health by Accountability. You'll see me and my coaches on there, and it'll explain a little bit more about what we do. But go grab your freebie. It's like how to eat like a normal person, without dieting and
Cool.
still lose weight. So go grab the freebie. But mostly I hang out on Instagram at Better Health by Accountability. And seriously, feel free to reach out and ask any questions. I'm on there a lot, and I like to chat. So yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
thanks, Emily. I really appreciate your time. And you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Thanks. Before we go, I just wanted to reach out real quick. A lot of you have talked about starting your own podcast and you're just not sure where to start. I wanted to let you know that Libsyn is an awesome platform, and right now they have a great deal for you to join. If you use the code Woodruff, WOODRUFF, you can get in at a great rate and get started today. Feel free to shoot me an email or send me a message if you have any questions. I would love to walk you through starting on